Hello, and welcome to episode 57 of Daryl Show Your Work. And continuing with the overall theme of web security, I'm going to be conducting a session hijacking of a user on a web site, and I'm going to be doing this through a cross-site scripting attack. So, um, like always, anytime I do any sort of offensive security or red teaming, I like to preface those videos. By saying that with a disclaimer, by saying that this is only for ethical and research purposes only, that any malicious activity may directly or indirectly come from someone watching my videos. I do not claim responsibility for, and nor do I condone. With that said, let's get started. All right, so the first thing I need to do is go to our target website. All right. All right, and then like always, these are mock sites. These are not like actual websites that I'm targeting. So again, just research ethical purposes only. So anyway, I'm going to be navigating here to http dot xss and it's located on being hosted on port 5000, and I'm going to go to the login page of that. All right, so I'm gonna give up my credentials here. So I'm gonna log in as student. All right. So I did. There's been. I know I've done some past videos on cross-site scripting before, and so I wanted to still give a high-level explanation of what that is for those who may have not seen that or who may be unfamiliar of what that is. So cross-site scripting is a type of cyber attack where a hijacker injects malicious scripts into a trusted website. So when an unsuspecting user visits the compromised page, the script executes in their browser, which can lead to the theft of sensitive information such as session cookies, personal data. It can enable an attacker to impersonate that account, or it can redirect that user to a malicious site. So in this instance, I'll be demonstrating a session hijacking. All right, so the first thing we want to do is we want to check out to see who our users are of this site. And this will be relevant later on as we go through this. So we see we have a user named John, a user named Connie, and then myself. All right. So now that we're logged in to the website here, the first thing that I want to do is I want to be able to test to see if this website is indeed vulnerable to cross-site scripting. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a blog post here. I'm going to get rid of all of this pre-rendered text, and I'm going to enter in a simple line of web code here, and basically I'm going to just say that, hey, I want to generate an alert, a pop-up window alert, and I want it to say this body, okay? All right, so I'm going to close the tags on that. All right, so I need to give it a title, so I'm going to just call this test. Hit submit. All right, so we didn't get any type of pop-up window, and we don't have anything here rendered on the actual post itself other than just the post title. So I'm gonna go into the page source and see if I can actually spot the code inside of the page source. All right, so I'm gonna right-click this and go to view page source. All right, so going to line 54, we can see here a line of code which looks very similar to my cross-site scripting attempt. However, you notice that the word alert is no longer present. So that is indicative of some sort of filtering and maybe even the use of some sort of web application firewall, because it may filter out terms like that, which would execute certain parts of code, alert being one of those. So it appears that there's some level of protection against cross-site scripting. So I want to further test this, but I want to use a more evasive approach to see if the cross-site scripting vulnerability is present on this website. So instead of directly embedding my code here in my post, I want to try to see if I can execute it remotely by calling out to an external script. All right. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to need to first close out this window. I'm going to write another post here. All right. And so I'm going to write another line of code here. And then once I'm done writing it, then I'm going to explain exactly what's going on in that line of code. Okay. So so what I plan to do is I plan to create a JavaScript file, which is going to which I'm going to again use to test this vulnerability on this site. But I want to basically call out to it where it's being hosted here at this location, which is my IP address, and I'm going to start up a simple web server to host this file. So basically, I want to be able to see if I can conduct a remote call to that file and run that code, and then conduct the cross-site scripting that way to where it executes that code um, on this website, but is doing it remotely instead of again calling it directly from inside of an embedded code inside of a post. All right, so I'm going to call this Java test. All right, and I'm gonna hit submit. All right, now I need to actually create that file. So in order to get started on that, I'm gonna open up a terminal. Let's increase my font here to so everyone watching can see what I'm doing. Let's see, make it a nice big 24. All right. So first I need to change to my directory where I plan to store this file. So home, Cali. Then we're gonna host this in a directory called cross-site scripting. All right. Now I'm going to create the JavaScript file. So I'm gonna say use my text editor nano, and then remember I called this xss.js for JavaScript. All right. So I'm gonna write a similar line of code here that I did in my initial post on the website. So I'm gonna say alert. Right. Then I want it just to return back to me instead of body. I'm gonna just say, hey, return back to me a bang. Okay. So pretty simple enough. Basically, I just want that pop-up window to show up on the website and just give me back that bang symbol to let me know that that is indeed working. So I'm do a Control X to save it, then Y. All right. So now it's time to actually host the file, and so I'm going to be using Python to initiate a simple web server to host that file. So I'm gonna say Python, and I'm using version 3, put -m http.server, and we wanted to do this over port 1234. I'm gonna hit enter. All right. So let's refresh this page and see what happens. All right, and it looks like we indeed got our bang message here. So again, so it appears that while there is some level of security against cross-site scripting when embedded inside of posts, it doesn't appear to be any sort of protection against cross-site scripting when certain calls are made to files externally or remotely. All right, so let's exploit this. Now that we found the vulnerability, let's exploit it by weaponizing our JavaScript and actually putting code in there that can do something malicious. All right, so I'm going to go back here to my terminal. All right, so let's uh, exit out of our web server. So I'm going to modify our JavaScript file, and I'm going to now write a new set of instructions here. All right, so I'm going to put, and I'm going to write this out for us and then explain exactly what's going on with it. Okay, so basically, I'm using the image source call basically to say that, hey, look for a I want you to look for I'll call out to this particular um, um, external IP on, and I need to correct that because it needs to be 1234 at this port, and document the cookies of anyone that is logging in, and send it, and basically send it to this IP address at that port. All right, and so that's going to, again, that's my IP address, the same IP address that I'm going to be running, reinitiating my web server on, and the same port that I'm going to be running that web server on. All right, so just checking out my syntax here, making sure that everything is good to go. All right, looks like it should be. So I'm gonna do Control X, Y to save. All right, so let's reinitiate this Python simple web server. All right, so now I'm going to create a new blog post. All right, so I'm gonna be writing that same line of code that I wrote before. Okay, So just checking my syntax here, make sure everything is okay. This is just the same line of code that I wrote before when I was testing it out. This time I'm running an actual um, cookie stealing line of code here again. So this should enable me to do some session hijacking. So when another user logs into this site, I should be able to see the cookies, the CSRF cookie, which is a cross-site request forgery cookie, and then also I should be able to see their session cookie. And I'm going to take both of those, copy them, and paste them over mine, and see if I could then be able to take over their session here on the site. All right, so I'm going to call this. All right. All right, now let's see what's going on. All right, so we're getting those tokens. So it looks like someone has already tried to log in. So first I'm going to get that CSRF token. All right, go back to our site. So I need to right click, go to inspect. All right, I'm going to go to storage here at the top. And then right here, so on these two lines right here, this first line, this is where I'm gonna put that CSRF token. Oops, let's copy over that, and then all right, let's go back. Actually, no, that's not the one I want to use. I want to use this one because this is me. All right, so this is the actual other user coming from this 172 address. All right, so we're gonna copy that. I enter that there. All right, then let's get this session cookie, which is right here. Why Linux is highlighting all of that. All right, let's copy that, and then we're gonna plug that in down here over my session cookie. All right, I'm gonna hit X. All right, and then I'm going to, let's refresh the page. All right, now we saw that this button to add a blog disappeared. Look here, if we see log out, we see the name Connie. Let's go to my blog. And now we see that we're actually logged in as Connie. Because remember, our other two users were John and Connie. I am now logged as Connie because I was able to take Connie's CSRF cookies and her session cookie and copy it over mine. And now I'm in a session as her. And if we look down here, now I have even more information. So if we look at her blog from 219, it looked like she said, "Today was a good day. John told me his secret code." So again, if I'm conducting some sort of enumeration, now I have even more information. All right. So this apparently when we looked at when I looked before, this lock here implicates that this was some sort of private or hidden post. All right. So I'm able to access now hidden things that she may have written that may have not been publicly viewable. All right, so this was just a overview of how we can conduct a session hijacking. All right, so to give a high level overview of what was accomplished here. All right, so the first thing that I did was I tested out the presence of the cross-site scripting vulnerability by first testing to see if I can inject a simple line of code into a post to see if that would execute, which it didn't. So that told me there was some level of protection, at least against being able to execute that directly from within and embedding that directly into a post. However, when I also tested its ability to to block any sort of remote attempts of cross-site scripting attacks, then it seemed to fail that test, and I was actually able to to execute a cross-site scripting, well, not necessarily attack in that moment, but a test, to be able to show that that bang alert, and I did that by creating a simple JavaScript, hosting that on my end, and then writing a script to to do a remote call to that particular file. And so then once I found that out, I weaponized that file. Wrote a piece of code in that JavaScript file to be able to start recording any sort of session cookies and CSRF cookies of anyone that logged into the file. Once I gained that, again, I was able to do that by again doing another remote call to that same file, and I was able to gain those tokens, replace them with my own, and then now I'm running a session as another user, and now seeing their private post, which gives me more information about some secrets on their end. So please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And most importantly, show your work. And until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.